Howdy, 102ers. This week continues the push towards the finish line. It's not an easy week, but the hard work this week means an easier time soon. Can you handle that? Anyone know who these guys are? If not, go find your parents. They'll know. This song that they're singing was huge in the 1980s when it came out. Then it became huge again in the 1990s when Microsoft bought the rights to it to introduce the Start button to Windows. Yes, it's the Rolling Stones, and yes, the song is Start Me Up. I've learned to hate this song so much, so I'm just glad that the video is here with no audio. The lip syncing in the video was terrible too. The rest of their catalog, especially the early stuff, was actually pretty good, so don't judge them on leotards and lip syncing, okay? So, before we really start us up, I'm going to say that it will be a long video today. Utilize the chapter links that I give you in the YouTube video description to skip around to see what you need or just watch the entire video. Either way works, but I would not blame you for wanting to make it shorter. Okay, cool. Now that we've got that set up, let's visit our old friend, the 102 Masterclass schedule, by scrolling down, looking on the right-hand side, finding the View the Course Schedule link, then clicking on the 102 Masterclass schedule. And then from here, we scroll down a lot farther to week number 9. And hello, week number 9. You'll see 3 files to look through, as well as the progress checkpoint or the rough draft of your paper, as well as the counter-argument and rebuttal planning discussion board. These two things really do go together. So once you get this done, you've pretty much done that section of the progress checkpoint. It's okay, all right? So anyway, your rough draft of the argument paper is due this week. Your final draft, as you can see, is due on Sunday, April 21st, right there, and you'll be in really good shape, okay? So, all that being said, let's start with tips for counter-arguments and rebuttals. Now, this page has some nuggets of information, but unfortunately, it's rather quick and lacks a lot of discussion, or not, on just what not to do and why we do it in the first place. So as you can see, it's really brief. So, I've sometimes asked someone during a debate, did you just wait for me to take a breath so you could jump in and start speaking? Or did you actually have something of note to say? Seriously, how many of us listen for breaks in the conversation to jump in without really listening to the actual person's words before we do? It's not giving a counter-argument. That's a verbal attack. A solid counter-argument takes in all of the initial argument points, processes them, and then attempts to refute one or more of those points with counter-evidence. Yes, counter-evidence. That can be defined as evidence specifically found in response to an argument which is presented in the, you guessed it, counter-argument. I've said before that an argument, and now in the case of a counter-argument, if it has no real evidence to support its points, it is simply an assertion. We don't like assertions. Assertions are just verbal diarrhea that do more to show your inability to logically respond to an argument than to ever convince your opponent that their argument was wrong in the first place. Knowing that, we need to know how to accurately counter an argument. The first thing we have to do is provide a very clear and solid transition to illustrate to your reader that we are leaving the main argument and heading in a totally different direction. There are many appropriate transitions you can use, some of which are listed on this page, and I have also provided another link in your announcement to the site that you can see here. Now, this page is not really all that warm and fuzzy like your D2L pages, and that's fine, no problem. You know, this one kind of reads like stereo instructions in Taiwanese, but that's okay. Because honestly, what it lacks in the back rubs and unicorns, it more than makes up for in down and dirty mechanics. So by looking at this page, you can see how the sausage is made. Seriously, this is very helpful when you get thinking about the transitions and asserting those ideas. So here we have all of the different formats. First contrasting transition. Well, what the hell's that? Oh, however, but, admittedly, although, alternatively. Now, please note, this is not an exhaustive list. That means that there are so many more out there. If you're curious as to what they are, go to Google, type in list of contrasting transitions, and you're going to get millions of pages returning all of these different words. Naming your opposition, strong verbs of denial and assertion or assertion. That doesn't really make any sense. But there we go, okay? Opposing point of view, evidence, analysis, second contrasting transition, reference the opposing point of view again, and turn back to your rebuttal. This is a great page by the Pennington Publishing blog. Whew, okay. So, the rest of this page is put together to show you the counter-argument and the rebuttal. After that oh-so-necessary transition, you're going to need to work CSET into it again by making the claim that your main counter-argument point wants to make. After that, you hit the reader with your setup and then provide evidence as to why the claim for your counter-argument is actually a strong idea. It's literally the exact same thing you do in your argument, but now you're going to the opposite direction. Finish up with the tie-in, and you'll actually have a pretty solid counter-argument. Now, do not rest on one simple idea. It's so nice that you want to do it at least twice. So go for another counter-argument point, okay? It's really rough speaking today. I'm sorry. Once you've established this counter-argument, you want to switch gears again and go into your rebuttal, which we have counter-argument, and now we have our rebuttal, right? So you have to present why, while the counter-argument seems okay, it's actually still all about your argument itself. You can tear down your counter-argument here to show why the overall argument is still the strongest thing going. Again, the most important thing here is to build a solid transition showing that you're now moving in a different direction again, and to show the evidence that you are using is supporting those rebuttal points. So let me take a second to show you the discussion board I originally wanted you to do this week. And this will make a lot more sense to you because I put some pretty solid sample posts in there. So when you go into it, you're going to see the counter-argument and rebuttal post. And it tells you all about what you want to put in there, okay? Your thesis position. Your counter-argument is going to be a transitional phrase and the opposing reasons. 2 ideas you'll include to explain the opposing reasons, and 1 possible site that you'll source that you'll cite. Man, this is tough today. Your rebuttal then will have transitional phrases, 2 ideas you'll include to express this in response to the opposing view up here, and then 1 possible source that you'll cite. I gave you, once again, a sample here that I call Increasing the Penalties for DUI in the USA. As you can see, it's a sample post, okay? So I give you my thesis just to make sure everybody knows what it is. Then the counter-argument, I show you exactly what my number 1 was, what my numbers 2 and 3 were. Again, second point, 1, 2, and 3, and then we have our rebuttals. Now, I'm going to come back to this at the end when I'm telling you, you have to do this for homework. But if you copy everything from while all the way down here to waiting room, and post it on your Microsoft Word document, properly formatted with 1-inch margins, 12-point font, and double spacing, that's 1 2/3 pages already. So that's helping you out, okay? You do this once, and you just copy and paste it into the other one and maybe manipulate it a little bit. It works rather nicely. Going back to the overall ideas here, the next page we're going to look at is paraphrasing in your argumentative research paper. And so when we click there, we see this. Now, unfortunately, this page is not really very good. First, you've already seen the whys and wherefores of paraphrasing before. Next, this page really isn't about paraphrasing to begin with. It's about someone's rant on citing paraphrasing. Just remember that any time that you use any outside source, whether you directly quote it, also known as copying and pasting, or paraphrasing it, also known as taking someone else's ideas and putting them into your own words so that everyone will understand it better, you must cite it, now and forever. Don't ever forget that. If it's not your material, you must give credit to the original author. So what's the big takeaway from this page? The type of citing that you must do. Officially, the American Psychological Association, the APA, states that you must provide author, year of publication or update, and the location of the information. That's what I call the page or paragraph number for any direct quotes. So if you have a direct quote, you must make sure to have all of that material there, like this. We have author, year, location of the information. Author, year, location of the information, okay? It's right there. The APA states that for any paraphrases, you must provide the author and year of publication or update, but the location of the information is optional, which means you can choose whether to include it or not. They leave that up to your receiving institution or instructor. That would be me. So to be 100% honest with you, I prefer seeing the location of the information, again, that's the page or paragraph number, in every single citation. Why? Well, in a direct quote, it's a rule. In a paraphrase, it shows me and your other readers not only where the paraphrase begins, right after the year, but also where it ends. Your reader never has to guess if the next sentence is part of your paraphrase or the beginning of your tie-in. There's no muddy waters here, folks. Now, some of my colleagues are dead set against this, and I'm really not sure why. You're literally adding as many characters to this paper as you would if you typed in a telephone number. That's it. Honestly, you're adding more characters with a phone number, but whatever. So this is called, where is it? Bookending! And it's incredibly helpful for everyone involved. So you have your setup with your author and year. See, this is Bob Samuels. I actually know a Bob Samuelson, but he doesn't like me very much. Then we have our quote or paraphrase, and we put whatever we need here. It could be a part of a sentence, or it could be 15 sentences. But either way, there's our evidence, and then the citation at the end shows us we're done. That's it. Everything is attributed to Bob Samuels from 2018. Isn't that wonderful? So we have some examples down here of bookending, and truthfully, this is why I like you to do it. Oh, by the way, we have this Unit 3 paraphrasing practice. You can do it if you'd like. I'm not going to make you do it. If you would like to do it and email it to me to see if you're good at it, I am happy to look at it and give you my feedback, but I am not requiring you to do that. Okay? Okay. So, what are we focusing on last? Well, the American Psychological Association's APA format for paper writing. I'm going to make it very easy for you. If you click on this page here, we have here. And honestly, this doesn't really do much. The page itself is kind of worthless, to be completely honest with you. So I want to show you a few links that I have put in your announcements that are going to help you greatly, okay? So the first one is the American Psychological Association's apastyle.org. That's the URL, apastyle, style.org. And that takes you to their official APA style page. Everything that you need here is right in front of you. So if you click on Style and Grammar Guidelines, this link here for paper format, this link here for in-text citations, and this link here for references are going to be the three that you're going to use the most. We don't have tables and figures in this, so you don't need that. Mechanics of style, like punctuation, spelling, capitalization, abbreviations, and number usage, hey, feel free to go through it. Awesome. Fantastic. Grammar, if you find that you're pretty bad at grammar, take a look at that one as well. And in the world we live in today, we have to worry about bias-free language, so there's another link on here. But these three links are the ones that you're going to carry the biggest, okay? So any one of these will help you greatly. After this, there's another page that comes from Purdue University. Yes, Purdue College. And they're known more for their NCAA tournament wins than anything else. But to me, as an English geek, I love the O.W.L, the Online Writing Lab. That's why they call it the OWL. Get it? Shut up. Anyway, we have the APA style introduction here, and it's all about the overview, and you can click on these links here, and that works. We have the citation machine box here, which works decently, but it's not perfect. I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then here, for the APA Formatting and Style Guide, make sure you're using the 7th edition. You're going to use pretty much these 10 links right here. In-text citations and reference links. Because if you can use that, you're going to find pretty much anything that you need. And honestly, if you want to go through the rest of the OWL, you just click on Purdue OWL, and it'll give you all sorts of things on how to use commas correctly and what subject-verb agreement is. Literally, it is made for undergraduates who need a little bit of help with their writing, and it's absolutely fantastic. So you are part of the intended audience, but not the direct intended audience. For that, we kind of want to look at this page here. The Delaware Technical Community College Libraries wrote the APA Citation Style Guide. Now, I have this linked on your announcement, but if you go back to your main page, look for the Student Success Toolbox, click on Library, and at the very bottom, you will see APA Style Documentation. Click on that, and bang, zoom to the moon, Alice. Here we go. I love this page. I've been using this page for 18 years at Delaware Tech because they've had it that entire time, and longer. I'm not arrogant enough to think I'm the only person that's ever used this. But not only is it here, and not only is it specifically intended for the Delaware Tech student, it's color-coded. So it helps you by saying, oh, well, what's this part? That's red up here, red. Oh, it's author. Okay. But none of you are going to be using books. None of you are going to be using reference books. Very few of you are going to be using periodical articles like newspapers and magazines. Oh, we have the internet down here. Wonderful. So we have URLs, we have titles and how they're formatted. We have years and authors. Down here, we can use online periodical articles that we find in databases. Things that we don't find in databases. And what do you young people do again? Oh, that's right, ebooks. I can't stand ebooks. They don't smell like anything. But then we have social media. For the older students, because apparently Facebook's only for old people, you rude little bastards. Anyway, Facebook, we can cite a Facebook post from your Aunt Tilly's political rants. We can do that. It's right here. We can also do Twitter if we want to. Or for you kids on the gram, we've got ways to format Instagram as well. Also, YouTube and TED Talks and all sorts of things. So this page here is so very helpful. I would highly recommend printing it out on a color printer and keeping it with you until you graduate. I promise it will help you. Finally, you may be thinking that the provided APA references from the databases like EBSCOhost and Credo, or those automatic citation generators like the one that Purdue University gave you, are going to be perfect. They're not. In my experience, they always get the capitalization wrong and sometimes screw up the punctuation and italics as well. I will be holding you accountable for the correct format using those sources that I mentioned just right now, and creating those references yourself is the safest bet here. Okay? So, it also says review Unit 3 resources as needed. Gosh, I wonder what we were talking about. CSET resources. Learn them, live them, love them. Sorry, I had a frog in my throat. Anyway, we have our counter-argument and rebuttal planning discussion board, which I've already showed you. And that, once again, is right here. You can go through, and we'll go back just to show you that the instructions are right there. Make sure that you go through it, find out exactly what we're talking about. All the beautiful ideas are here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And if you go into my sample, I have labeled them 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3, 1, 2, and 3. You do not have to label them like that, okay? I did this to show you because it is a sample post. But you don't have to do this. And once again, if you take the material from While No One Will Freely Admit all the way down to Waiting Room and paste this in a Microsoft Word document, correctly format it with 1-inch margins, 12-point font, and double-space it, you get 1 2/3 pages. Add that to the 4 pages that hopefully you already have with your claims, And guess what? You're over 6 pages now for a 7-page paper with only the introduction, background, and conclusion to go. I think you're pretty solid. Because anything less than 7 pages will get you in trouble. So what are we doing? Well, we're going to be looking at the progress checkpoint, which is just fancy talk for give me your rough draft. Honestly, many people elect not to conference with me, and if you want to, that's fine. We'll find a time during your lunch break. We'll find a time near the end of the day, whatever it works, and I'm happy to do that over Zoom or via phone call. That's fine. Many of you, however, want to max out the time you have available and just email it to me like normal and associate it with your weekly assignments, and that's fine too. I want to make sure that you have at least 4 to 5 pages of content to submit. Do not send me an introduction and say, it's been busy. You have had over 6 weeks to work on this. I have been telling you for at least 4 weeks what you should be working on and when you should be working on it. If you do not have all of that, it is not my fault, okay? I have been telling you each and every week what to be doing. So if you're not paying attention to me, that's again not my fault. I won't really have too much sympathy for anybody, okay? So make sure that you give me enough detail to fully explain your ideas. At this point, I need to see at least your claim paragraphs as well as your counterargument paragraphs and your rebuttal paragraphs. If you do not have your intro material, your background, or your conclusion, that's fine. The more you can give me, the more feedback I can give back to you. However, if you do not have at least this section here, you've obviously not really been working very hard, okay? So if you have this material here, you're going to have a pretty good feedback from me. If you don't have it, there's a chance that you're not going to do very well in the paper, okay? Please make sure that you do indeed do that, because everything has been spelled out for you on this document, which I've attached to every announcement that you've had for 6 weeks. 7 to 8 pages, 7 full pages. You need 7 sources total. Make sure that's all formatted correctly. Third person point of view. No I's, me's, my's, ours, we's, or you's. Okay? You can look right down here as to what each section requires. You can go right through here and play that game. Which one of these things is not like the other, okay? Make this the document that you copy and paste with yours, and then just change this to your name, this to my name, and this to the due date, which is April 21st, 2024. Then go through. Make sure you have your headers in each section, please. They are requiring that. Make sure you spell out your claim. Claim 1 is not good enough. Claim 1, long and short-term outcomes. Claim 2, ineffective behavioral modification. Claim 3, resulting negative mindsets. And this one actually has Claim 4, alternative corrective punishments. Well, all of that will work. Here's your counterargument. Here's your rebuttal. And here's your background, your conclusion, followed by all the references that you use within the paper. Please, please, please make sure to give me everything, okay? I'm here to help, but you really need to make sure that it's on target. So once again, you just need to submit it by the deadline. If you would like to conference with me via Zoom, I'm only too happy to do that, but you need to schedule a time with me first. Remember, it's very important, folks. I'm trying my best to give you everything that you might need to succeed in this paper. If you listen to me and follow the instructions, you will be cruising to the end. If you skip these videos and just think that you have it done right, you take a chance by spinning Fortuna's wheel. Please don't leave it to chance, okay? I'm trying to make sure that you're ready. Finally, that's it, folks. Just a hair under 25 minutes, the longest video of the entire semester. It's dense, it's long, it's detailed, but it's important. Rewatch it if you need to. Go to YouTube and click on the chapter titles to make sure that you get the parts that you missed. Good luck. Let me know what I can do to help, and I'll hopefully talk with all of you soon and see all of your wonderful drafts. See ya.